Are you in the process of reevaluating your life? That seems like a big question, but all too common for so many women. And we go through these stages of reevaluating our life, wondering, are we on purpose? Could there be more to life than this? What's next for me? What is this next chapter going to look like? There are so many questions that can come up and so many reasons those questions come up. So that is what today's video is about, is looking at, are you reevaluating your life? Why might that be happening? And what might you be looking at, just to bring a certain amount of normalcy to it. So stay through to the end. I'd love to hear in the comments, first and foremost, are you reevaluating your life? What are you thinking? What's going on for you? What are you feeling in this process? Share in the comments below, please. I'd really love to hear, and let's get the conversation started, because I know that you're not alone. I'm not alone in this. I'm always reevaluating my life, and I definitely see ebbs and flows. And if you're new to the channel, welcome. I'm Kim Marie. I am a transformational life and leadership coach supporting women on the journey to reclaiming themselves, to really owning who they are, feeling empowered, and stepping into the fullness of their true nature. All right, so today, what I want to first touch on is the idea of why. Why is it that we tend to reevaluate our lives? Why does it sometimes feel like we're always reevaluating our lives? Well, I want to start by saying that we kind of have this innate nature in us that calls us to realize our full potential. That's always there. We have this concept of having incarnated as a spiritual or soul-based being. And here we are in this body, in this material world, and we're here to make something of it. And what does that mean? We'll look at purpose and that kind of thing in a different video. I think I've even done a video on purpose, finding purpose. But we do have that calling toward purpose. We do have this sense that there's something here for us, that we're meant to do something. And I do believe that we all have a unique and individual purpose, but I also think that in many ways we all have the same purpose, and that is to realize our potential, to show up and realize our potential and express through the love and wisdom that is the source from which we've come. Okay, so why are we constantly looking for more? I do think that we're here to create as well, and that's what I mean by express. Okay, so if you're not creating in line with what you want to be creating, and that might be through your job, through your creative endeavors, through your relationships, even just through your lifestyle, then something's probably going to nudge you or call you to create in a bigger, different, unique kind of way than what you have been doing, okay? I also want to share that often when we go through transitions in life, and this happens all the time, right? We transition from, our childhood into, oh my gosh, I'm going to venture out, maybe go to college or get my first job out of school, move out of my parents' house, or we're going to transition from school into the workplace, or maybe from one job to another. And we question, we wonder, is this the right job for me? Is this the right path for me? I'm not using my degree. Is that okay? Things like that. We start to question, and then it continues on throughout our lives. We find a person that we want to engage in a relationship with. Maybe we even get married, and that changes things, and it makes us reevaluate. How am I spending my time? Who am I spending my time with? The transition of becoming a mother will begin to awaken this call. Who do I want to be? What kind of role model do I want to show up as? This idea of reevaluating our life based on whatever is happening. Maybe we also go through a divorce, or we lose a loved one, or we empty nest and our children leave the house and they're on to different things, and we are facing the next chapter of our life, right? Or maybe we're retiring and moving into that stage of our life. There are constant transitions all through life, and this idea that we're supposed to reach some certain place, some pinnacle, it's not about reaching the top of the mountain. Life is full of the journey, the hike itself, right? We're going to climb some mountains and we're going to go down into some valleys, and we're going to climb some other mountains and go down into some more valleys. And we're always transitioning, constantly moving through the cycles and events and aspects of our life. So that transition, those transitions in and of themselves are going to ask us or nudge us or call us to reevaluate our life. It's totally normal. There's nothing wrong with you just because you're reevaluating. A lot of times I hear women say, gosh, I feel like I'm always reevaluating my life, or always trying to, start over or do something new or figure something out, right? And if we shift the mindset away from something being wrong or needing to figure something out, and we just allow ourselves to honor the journey, right? Honor the ebbs and flows, honor the path, and see where it takes us. We might find ourselves at more peace when we're reevaluating our life. We might be able to hear more messages, all right? I want to also share, many of you, if you've been watching me for a while, I have a passion for a lot of the esoteric, the metaphysical, but I'm not super woo-woo about it. I like everything in my spiritual practices to be all about making it practical. How can we make these things practical and bring it into a grounded way in this life? Yes, we're spiritual beings, but we're also incarnated in these bodies on this planet, and it has to be practical, right? We can't just keep escaping the earth. I really do believe that we have astronomical significance influencing us in our lives. And some of you who are fans of astrology may have heard of concepts like the Saturn return or the moon node return. Moon nodes, it's where the nodes are in relation to the time of your birth, the North Node and South Node. I'm not going to get into a whole astrology lesson, but they cycle around about every 18 and a half-ish years, give or take a few months. And basically, when those moon nodes return, we often are called to something more. We might find ourselves reevaluating our lives. We might have felt that when we went off to college, and you might even have gone into some depression or anxiety or things like that. And then at the halfway point, you might also feel it because there's a certain aspect there happening cosmically. In astrology, whenever there are conjunctions, oppositions, and squares, we feel a tension. We feel a recognition. Something's going on. We feel it. We can tell there's an energy there. And a lot of times people, they kind of like poo-poo it and they say, whatever. I don't believe in all that stuff. You don't have to believe in it, right? But we can look back and see so clearly cycles. There's even a lot of talk astrologically about cycles of revolution happening on the planet at different times when different planets were aligned in certain ways. And when they cycle back around, it happens again, or similar energy happens. So I'm just pointing this out to say that we do indeed have an astrological influence. There are things that impact us, that cause us to question, that nudge us to question, that invite us to question, that make us say, am I really honoring the life I came here to live? Am I really aligned with the path that I came here to follow? That those influences can bring something new. Even the ebb and flow of the tides associated with the cycles of the moon, right? We can sometimes feel a new beginning with a new moon, and we can set new intentions, and then we can feel kind of a peaking or a culmination or a letting go that's needed with the full moon and the peak, and we can feel that month to month. And literally, these are things that cause us to reevaluate. So when you feel like you're reevaluating all the time, well, the moon is going through those cycles on a monthly basis. And we're going to feel that. We're going to feel that energy. So don't ignore that. Like, get in touch with that. Tune into that, right? Now, another piece that I want to honor is that there's also an aspect of us that may have forgotten who we really are. And we may have disconnected from what we really care about. And that is so much of a critical path we need to go on when we are trying to reevaluate our life. We have to step back and say, who am I really? Who am I now, maybe, compared to who I was before? What am I remembering about myself now that I didn't remember before? What have I forgotten? Am I reconciling and regathering parts of myself that maybe I had ignored because I was trying to live somebody else's life or living for someone else, or too involved in the roles I was playing, like of mother or wife or executive or entrepreneur or whatever, to the point where I forgot some of my own passions and desires and longings. And then what about, the values that I live by? I say this is how it should be, but do I really believe that? Is that what I really care about? Or is that just what I grew up believing or thinking? Or is that just what I read about and assumed it was true? This is about reevaluating those pieces, and we're constantly being called to reevaluate, and it's a constant cyclical. I always say we're spiraling through this journey of remembering who we are, reconnecting to what matters, re-envisioning new possibilities, and ultimately rebirthing ourselves, reinventing ourselves, reclaiming ourselves into this new, more aligned life. We're constantly doing it. It's not a one-time thing. That is the entirety of my Solace program that I enroll women in every year. We typically begin the cycle in January. It is available to join anytime. There's a link in the description if you're curious about it. But it's really just looking at those cycles, looking at those patterns, looking at the ways in which we go through constantly remembering what we've forgotten, reconnecting to those values that maybe we haven't been aligned with. That's part of the reevaluation process, and it's normal and it's cyclical, and it happens to all of us, right? None of us are going to escape that. It's part of the soul's journey. Now, another piece on the concept of reevaluating yourself is it can be very difficult when we're facing a life transition, when we are really questioning, who am I? How am I supposed to show up now? How do I go forward here with this new situation? Maybe we're recovering from an illness. Maybe we're even long recovered. Like maybe we've gone through addiction recovery, or we've been long recovered from an illness, but we don't feel like we've fully stepped into who we are, right? We just recovered, but we haven't regenerated, right? We haven't renewed. We haven't reclaimed ourselves in a way that allows us to take new action and rebirth ourselves into something new that we want to do. We've spent all our time on the recovery process, which is great, and that's an achievement in itself, but maybe we're ready for another step and we just don't quite know how to do it. This is about allowing yourself to ask for help, right? Who can you talk to? This is what my work with coaching and mentoring is all about. And I'd love to have a conversation with you. It's completely complimentary. There's a link in the description. So be sure to check it out, because I'd love to have a conversation with you and explore what you're going through and determine if we're a good fit. And you can also check things out on my website, kimmariecoaching.com/mentoring, for the types of things that I support women to take a look at. There's so many different domains that we might be reevaluating in our life, right? So getting support is another piece of this reevaluation process. And finally, we want to engage with the concepts of holism, empowerment, nurturing, and alignment. And these are huge aspects of what this channel is all about. This is why I've created this channel, because we can't, if we're going to reevaluate our life, we're not just going to reevaluate ourselves as a mother or as a wife. We're going to reevaluate ourselves as a person, a holistic being, our thoughts, our emotions, our body, our spirituality, but also in a holistic life, right? That has financial aspects and economic aspects and political aspects and family and community and social and educational, and all of these different aspects of our life that we have to pay attention to. We have to look at. We want to look at things holistically so that we can really be sure we're reevaluating and not forgetting any of these pieces, right? And we're truly aligned on our soul's path in a way that feels nurturing and empowering, so that we can make wise choices to keep going on that path, right? The choices are not what is so important in this situation. It's about being willing and ready to make some choices, right? The choices may turn out to be not so great, and that's okay, because we learn from everything that we're doing. When we're reevaluating our life, sometimes we have to make some tough decisions and change course and try new things. And it's a little bit of an experiment depending on what we're doing, right? Depending on how connected to the holistic side of things we are. So I invite you to consider those pieces, this idea that there are so many factors, whether it's transition and inner calling, cosmic and astrological influences, or this idea of forgetting and feeling disconnected from your truth that are pushing you to reevaluate your life, and to get support if you need it, to ask for help, to seek guidance on the path, someone to walk beside you to process these things and evaluate and explore and discover and even excavate. It's kind of like an archaeological dig that we're going on as we reevaluate our life again and again throughout the cycles of our life. So I'd love to hear from you. Share in the comments if this was helpful. I'd also love to hear any questions that you have. Put in the comments any questions, and be sure to subscribe, click the notification bell, share it with others if you think this was helpful. It helps the channel, and it also helps other women to feel more empowered, and that's what we're here to do. Until next time.